Today is November 23rd of 2015. I am here talking to you, my colleagues from Brazil. I will talk in English because that is easier for me. Not that I don't speak Portuguese anymore, I do, and I am honored to be able to speak after being away from Brazil for so long. I am married to a Dr. Sternberg, and therefore my social name is Norma Sternberg, and my medical name was Norma Wollner. I was born in Brazil, and I left Brazil in 1958, 3 years after graduating from medical school, and came to the United States with a fellowship to learn research so that I could go back to Brazil and teach research in the Department of Hematology under Dr. Jambra. I came here then in January 24th, 1958, worked hard to learn what I had to learn, and met a very lovely young man by the name of Steve Sternberg, and married him. I decided to remain in this country where I had 2 children, and once I decided to stay here, I had to go back to school to learn to receive my certification in whatever profession I wanted to take, or whatever specialty in the profession that I had I wanted to take. And this occurred from 1960 to 1962. I trained as a pediatrician in the Hospital das Clínicas, or the equivalent to Brazilian hospital, which was called Bellevue. When I finished my residency, I returned to Memorial Sloan Kettering, where I continued to practice until 1998. I never liked pediatrics before, but I developed a unique love for the children that I took care of, and I decided that I would improve the outcome they had in their horrible diseases like lymphoma, leukemia, ovarian tumors, pre-sacral teratomas, and I decided that by looking at the facts that there was something I could do, and indeed I did. In 1972, I presented my first important paper in a foreign meeting. The meeting took place, I believe it was in Portugal, in which I spoke about the treatment that I had developed for lymphoma. Lymphoma, up until that time, killed about 94% of the patients within 6 to 12 months. I found that unacceptable since I had looked into the situation and I found there were ways to improve, devised a protocol called the LSA2L2, and indeed I obtained a magnificent result with 72% of the children surviving beyond a year. They survived to be cured today. Today I still have lunch with my survivors. They come to the United States to see me, and they are all doing very well. But anyhow, when I presented this work in the meeting, and it was 1973 or 74, the whole room was silent. Nobody could believe in the data that I was presenting. And I couldn't understand why nobody was saying anything until someone Dr. Giulio D'Angio, got up and said that he was astounded, like everybody else in the audience, to see such results in such a dismal disease. And he congratulated me and asked me if he could borrow my slides to present my work in a lymphoma meeting that was to take place in England. He did that, and from then on I became very famous, and everybody became very excited about being able to treat and cure a disease that had such horrible prognosis. And I went then on to develop protocols for other diseases, and we found that my protocol for lymphoma was also an excellent protocol for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, especially the high-risk one with bigger lymph nodes and high count and so forth. And so the United States adopted this protocol with some modification. So did the European group. They modified on their own. And from then on, I had a career in which I changed many protocols. I treated germ cell tumors in girls that had a 0% survival. And today I have about an 80% survival. The pre-sacral teratomas were also a high percentage of cure. And from that time on, I decided that I had conquered many diseases that were difficult to conquer. And it was now time for me to establish a magnificent relationship with my patients and their families, which continues until today. I am very proud of my accomplishments. I retired with the feeling and the sensation that I had done something for the children, the parents, and the families of those that were diagnosed with such horrible diseases. And the good results continue until today. They are not more publicized because the numbers of children with cancer does not compare to the number of adults with cancer, and it is only with the adults having more than 1,000 or 10,000 cases per year that the interest of the media became involved with and decided to talk about. When I asked them why not to do the same for the children, they said, but the numbers are so small. Obviously, they were not parents, and therefore for them, what mattered was numbers as a total, and not really the individual and their families. I also was written about in a very exclusive scientific journal, was sort of given credit for developing in 1969 the concept of day hospital. What I wanted to do was, instead of a child coming to the hospital and being evaluated and then hospitalized to receive his treatment as an inpatient, and to spend most of his life in the hospital and not with his family, I developed then the day hospital in which we would give them treatment for the whole day. They would still go home at nighttime, play with their dogs, eat meals with their parents and family, and go to sleep in their own bed. This was successful. It was adopted in the entire United States and also in Europe. So that was another contribution of mine. I have retired with several intents. The first one was to be a complete wife. Being so busy with patients and treatments and conferences and so forth, I couldn't really dedicate my entire life to my husband. But I decided upon retirement I was going to do that. I was going to be a mother that I could not have been while I was working so hard and had so much to take care of. but made always sure that my children were cared for. But the feeling of being a mother for them wasn't there from their point of view. And I decided it was time that I should do that. And there was time still to win them back. The other thing I did and I intended to do was to be a good grandmother. And I think I am. And the other one was to be a good cook, which I was. Not anymore. So I have fulfilled all my desires in these 86 years of mine, and I'm very proud of them. I don't talk about my past anymore. I only meet with people that know me and that with whom I have not to talk. I don't have to talk about it. They feel indebted to me for the things I did and for giving them life. And I think I've given life to a lot of people, including to ones that were living as well, like my daughters and my grandson and my husband. And I can say that I speak as a very proud Brazilian physician. I was trained in Brazil in one of the best universities there is, accepted by the United States as a good medical school. And I have proven to them that indeed I came from a good school, and there was from a good school, period. I thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about myself. It is boring to many of you, but to me it's very interesting. It's my way of saying goodbye. I love you all. I know I've missed a lot of my friends and colleagues. Some of them have died, but I still have the time to talk to those that have survived. And I can say that I am very proud of the colleagues I have. All of them performed well. Thank you.